A WordPress is a great tool for creating websites, but it can also be used to create some awesome content for clients whether you use content mills or not. And part of creating this amazing content is using Yoast SEO as your guide. It's a free plugin that you can install right now to enhance the website. I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary, and today I want to show you a few of the things you can do with Yoast SEO and WordPress. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button if you find the video informative, and hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Now, Yoast SEO is by far one of my favorite plugins for WordPress. Not only does it help structure your website for better search engine optimization, but it helps you write better content for it. And I can say personally that I've never had a revision request from a client on Textbroker when using Yoast SEO to write their content. In fact, it's such an effective tool that my current daily client has installed it on all of their websites. And the best part is that it's a free tool that you can install on WordPress right now. Of course, it has its premium version with a slew of other tools you can use. But as a free plugin, it has everything you need for better search results and engaging your readers. And both of these aspects are appreciated by clients whether you use content mills like Textbroker or you have private clients that go to you directly. Let's take a closer look at some of the things Yoast SEO does to help you create content. Now, this is my WordPress layout for WriterSanctuary.com. It might look a little different from yours depending on how you have yours set up. As of WordPress 5.0, the Gutenberg editor was forced upon users, and since I hate Gutenberg with a passion, I immediately installed the Disable Gutenberg plugin. At any rate, Yoast SEO will work with the same whether you use a Gutenberg or not. Now, this is an example of a horribly written article sitting at 700 words or so. This is about average of what you would do in a content mills like Textbroker. Anyway, the first thing I want to show you in Yoast SEO is the readability analysis. That's this guy right here. This is perhaps the most important part of using Yoast SEO when creating content for clients and your own website. Yoast will break down your content according to current online standards and give a color score based on your own text, which is these little balls right here. You see it goes from green, orange to red. Red obviously meaning bad. So in other words, you want as much of this green as humanly possible, especially when you're writing for clients. Now, this is done in real time as you write, and as you can see I have plenty of segments in the red as well as orange. Now, the sample that I wrote today was kind of a pain to write because I had to revert back to being as horrible as I possibly can after spending 7 years being the best that I can. So when you're purposely trying to write bad, it's far more difficult than learning how to write good. At least it wasn't my case. Now, when you want to fix a certain problem, you can click on the eye icon on the right of the highlighting those problematic areas. So let's say we want to take a look at where the consecutive sentences are so we can fix them. This is a problem because it's not a good practice to start sentences with the same word too often. So I'll click on the eyeball and then I'll scroll up to my content. Yoast will highlight the problem areas in purple. From here you can make your adjustments. So I would click into here and then fix any one of these sentences. I'd probably fix the middle one, maybe the last one, I don't know. I don't like having more than 2 sentences with the same word at the beginning, but this is pretty much user preference. So once the problem is fixed, you'll see Yoast has checked it off automatically. And now the consecutive sentences are green. What about fixing something that doesn't have an eye icon? For instance, we can see that we don't have a header in the article. This is labeled by Subheading Distribution. Subheaders are important as they help break up the content and make it easier for an audience to read. They also play a part in SEO as well as being part of featured snippets in Google search. I'll go into featured snippets in a future video. For the problems that don't have an eye icon, you have to fix them manually. In the case of a subheading, I just need to add one somewhere in the piece to make the analysis turn green. In this example, I'm going to tag 2 birds with 1 stone. As you can see, I need a subheading as well as shortening a paragraph. You want a shorter paragraph for the same reason you want subheadings, readability. This is especially true if your visitors are using smartphones, and most clients do not want content that appears as a wall of text. What I'm going to do is to separate this long paragraph and add a header. Since this last part of the paragraph is all about poor readability, I'll label the header, trying to reach poor readability. So the way I add headers in WordPress is I go to the text version so that I can type it in HTML. Probably, most of the time, this is because I'm planning on giving this to a client. So we go trying to reach poor readability. Now we have a subheader. Blam! So when I switch back to the visual, you see that I've got a subheader. Now when we scroll back to Yoast, we see that we have one section that's in the green, and we still need a subheading distribution. That's because we have another section of text that is longer than 300 words, which is not really all that good compared to some of the other content that's out on the internet. You want to try to keep it in the green, so we have to go back and find what section has more than 300 words, and it's more than likely going to be this area here. So I'm going to add a subheading here. Well, here. And for this example, I'm just going to label this one. Just do a quick one. Past tense. Whoops. Past tense writing. Because that's what the subject is for the paragraph. So when I go back, you can see that I've got a header. So when I scroll down, we can see that now our consecutive sentences and our subheading distribution are in the green. When you add a header, make sure that it's relevant to the content under it. You don't want to confuse the reader nor the search engines. It's all about being relevant. Now, using Yoast as a guide, you can turn all of its readability points green. If you need help with understanding any of these sections, Yoast adds links and tooltips to the plugin. All you need to do is click the link of the problem, and you can read Yoast's blog articles about the segment and how to properly set it up. And all of these links open in a new window, so you don't have to worry about losing progress you've made on the content. So after I spend a little bit of time breaking up the text a little bit and making some adjustments, you can see that Yoast says that everything's in the green. Now, if you're writing content for a client, I would give it one more glance to make sure that it's the best quality you can deliver. But one aspect I want to point out before we continue, though, is the Flash Rating E-score. This is vital when creating content, whether it's for clients or yourself. The average internet user reads at an 8th grade reading level, which means anything under a score of 60 is more difficult to read for the majority of visitors. Usually, I try to keep this above 70 as it's easier to absorb by most people on the internet. And that's key when driving traffic for clients and your own blogs, to make content easier to understand and engage. Not everyone carries around a thesaurus to decipher your terminology. Okay, now let's look at the focus key phrase of Yoast. That's this guy right here. Now this is the main focus of search engine optimization. So if you're writing an article for clients at Textbroker or other content mills, you won't use all of these segments, because you cannot control things like the internal links, meta descriptions, alt image attributes. You probably won't turn this section green at all. However, you do want to pay attention to key phrase introduction, length, density, and key phrase title. So what do you do if your client wants the keywords used more than what Yoast says is good? Always follow the client's guidelines, even if the key phrase density turns red in Yoast because the client wants the keyword or phrase used a bunch of times. That's what you have to do. Now, when you're creating content on your own website, try to turn every point in Yoast green. It'll vastly improve your chances of scoring well in search while increasing visitor engagement. Another element you're not going to fix when writing for clients with Yoast is the key phrase slug portion. This is completely up to how the client has their own website structured, and you have no control over it. So there you have it, better writing using Yoast SEO and WordPress. One thing I want to point out, though, is paragraph lengths. Now, I know Yoast says that over 150 words is bad, but personally I try to keep paragraphs to 2 to 3 sentences long. That helps break up the content and make it less seem daunting to visitors. In fact, a lot of SEO experts suggest doing so as well. And people like Neil Patel will essentially turn every sentence into its own paragraph. Now, I personally don't like that method, and the clients on Textbroker will most likely send it back for a revision. Now, Textbroker editors may also flag your orders as well and drop your level if you do something like that. But I do agree with shorter paragraphs being key to readability, so I try to keep them within reason like so. So I'll click in here, blam. And then we can separate this because it can stand as its own point. But you get the picture. So that's how I would structure the wording of this post. I would break it up as best I could. I want each paragraph to be able to stand on its own without confusing the reader, but I don't want a wall of text like down here, because on a mobile device that would just look horrible. Now that's how I use Yoast SEO to create content that my clients love. Now I cannot guarantee that you'll have the same exact experience as I do. After all, it's up to you to write the content. However, Yoast SEO does lay the groundwork for you to cultivate your own amazing posts. It's just up to you to till it. So what's your favorite app when you're writing and why? Leave in the comments down below. Obviously, my favorite tool is Yoast SEO on WordPress. And mind you, I don't have the pro version of Yoast, which is something I plan on getting in the near future. There's just a lot of different tools that the pro version can offer me for creating my own blog. It's not necessarily needed if you're doing content for a client on Textbroker. If you find the video informative, hit the like button. If you want to learn more about Textbroker, freelance writing, WordPress, or any of the other topics I cover, hit the subscribe button. And yes, I know, I cut my hair a little bit too short this time around. I think that's going to do it for me today. I'll see you tomorrow.